Another minute, is it? Oh, am I on already? I'm on? Oh, okay. Good morning. Welcome to Friday Drop-In Meditation with me, Alan. Hope you're well. We'll do our normal routine. And the second part of the hour we spend doing an analytical meditation on a particular topic of Buddhist teachings. So with this first session, the practice will be basically using the breath, but there's a variation on this one. I've been listening to the Happiness Conference, which VI is running at the moment. This is the second day with many wonderful expert speakers on aspects of psychology, Western psychology mainly. And many of the speakers are psychologists, of course. And many of them are using Buddhist-type mindfulness practices. Not necessarily Buddhist, but some of them are the same that we use in Buddhism. This particular teacher called Dr. Rick Hansen was speaking yesterday, and he uses breathing practice or breathing awareness, mindfulness of breathing to calm the mind. But he also introduces some aspects of kindness and compassion into the practice, which it'll mix well with our second practice, which is going to be on compassion. So in this practice, we start off with the breath, of course. We actually start off, first of all, with relaxing our body, speech, and mind. And then we move to the breath, and then we focus on 4 different areas. We start with the chest, breathing and being mindful of the chest. So a few minutes on that. That's interesting because normally we focus more on the abdomen, lower down. So Dr. Hansen says, well, in this particular practice, we use the chest, upper area of the body. Second one, we look to our feelings. So it could be our physical feelings, aches and pains and so on, but can also include emotions, how we're actually feeling, just tuning in to how we're feeling right now, our particular mood, whether we're happy, sad, neutral, whatever. A few minutes on that. Second, and we're breathing all the way through. We're breathing while we're feeling. Third one, we're breathing while we're feeling cared about. So being cared about or cared for. So this is appreciating others' kindness. While we're breathing, we're feeling about being cared for by others. That's the third one. Fourth one is breathing while feeling caring for others. This is goodwill, compassion, kindness. While we're breathing, we're feeling a caring attitude or feeling towards others. But this is getting onto our compassion practice. Interesting. So we'll try that. So get comfortable. Make yourself physically comfortable, lying down, sitting on a cushion, standing, whatever's the most comfortable place. Very important to be physically relaxed, to be able to relax our body, mind, particularly our mind. All right, let's start. So we start always with just checking in to our body and mind. Have a sense of letting go of the external world, what's happening outside, what's happened this morning, what will happen later. Any sense we have to be somewhere, we have to be someone, do something. We can let all that go for this 1 hour. Spend a few moments appreciating how lucky we are to spend some time meditating, taking care of our mind, caring of the mind, being kind to our mind, kind to ourselves, giving our mind a rest. And we're doing this not just for our own well-being, benefit, but to help those around us. Whatever we're feeling will have an effect on those around us. Ultimately, the big motivation is to benefit all beings, all living beings. Now we start with the body, just scanning the body for any tightness, any holding on. Just checking around the upper body, our shoulders, often a place where tension builds up. Checking the neck and the head. Our spine should be straight, but not ramrod straight, just relaxed and straight. Your eyes can be closed or just gently open. We're breathing through the nose. Just checking those muscles around the eyes and the face and softening them. The fine muscles. Starting now with our balance. Are we evenly balanced on the chair or the floor? Becoming aware of the weight of the body and where it touches the chair or the floor. How gravity gently pulls us into the earth. Surrendering to that, letting go. Surrendering to the earth. Nothing to hold on to. Becoming aware of the breath. Now with the out breath, have a sense of breathing out any physical tension left in the body. Breathing out any busyness of the mind, the mental clutter, mental chit-chat. We can just breathe that out. Any worries, any preoccupations, busy thoughts, let go. And then just step back and watch the breath. Out interfering, just watching. No good breath, no bad breath, just breath, in and out. And now we particularly take notice of the chest moving with each breath. Breathing in and out with our chest as a whole. The whole movement of the chest with the breath. That's all. Being aware. Expansion, contraction of the chest. Staying fully aware of each in-breath and the whole flow of each out-breath. And the movement of the chest with the in-breath and the out-breath. Every now and again we check using introspection to see how we're going. Are we still on the breath? Still noticing the chest rising and falling with each breath? If we've been distracted, wandering mind, that's okay. What we know, main thing is to notice when it happens. When it happens, we gently relax, be glad we noticed. That's the practice. And come back to the breath. Breathing out with the chest, breathing in with the chest. Only the current breath, the breath in this present moment. That's all we need to observe, be mindful of. Breathing with the chest in, breathing with the chest out. And now we gently let go of the chest awareness and breathe while we're feeling our emotions, what's happening inside, while we maintain awareness of the breath. Just checking how we feel today, now, any emotional feeling. Any neutral feelings, happy feelings, sad feelings, worrying feelings, joyful feelings. Noticing, not following, not being involved, using the breath as home base. We can include any physical feelings, aches and pains, hot or cold. Breathing while we're feeling. Breathing while we're feeling. Totally aware. How are we going? Are we still breathing while we're feeling? Or if we want it off, just checking, coming back to the breathing while we're feeling. Returning to the object. Breathing in while we're feeling. Breathing out while we're feeling. And now gently just adjusting our object. We're still breathing. We're breathing while we're feeling cared for, appreciating others' kindness towards us. Breathing while we feel cared for, recalling those who care for us, appreciating their kindness, their care, as we breathe in, as we breathe out. Breathing while we feel cared for, staying with that. Just checking from time to time. Are we still breathing while we feel cared for, or have we wandered? Gently coming back to breathing while we feel cared for. Now we gently change our object from breathing while feeling cared for to breathing while feeling caring for others. As we breathe, we feel caring for others. We're wishing others well, extending our goodwill to others, loving kindness, compassion to others. Breathing while feeling and caring for others. Staying with that. Breathing while we care for others. As we breathe, we feel caring, kindness, goodwill towards others. All other beings, friends, enemies, strangers. Breathing while we care for others. We feel that caring for others. Okay, so just relax and have a stretch, have a drink. So just before we start the second practice, which is on using one's own problems to extend compassion to others, a compassion meditation, using our own problem. I'll just read you a little story from Lama Yeshe. I've read this before, but it always makes me laugh. So Lama Yeshe is making the point that we should, after we do our sitting meditation, always check whether we're really doing the meditation or not. And the best way is to interact with others in the outside world. And if others criticize us or our practice, we should be able to deal with that. So here's a good story, a Tibetan story illustrating the lack of connection between intellectual knowledge and our actual ingrained habits, and how difficult it can be to putting the fruits of our meditation into practice, putting what we learn on the cushion into the outside world. So a monk, one monk asked another monk who's doing lots of meditation, he said, "What are you up to these days?" And the friend replied, "I've been doing a lot of meditation on equanimity and patience." And then the first monk said, "Well, Mr. Big Patience Meditator guy, eat shit." His friend immediately got very upset and retorted angrily, "You eat yourself." So this is illustrating, Lama Yeshe says, how we often are. So if we meditate on patience, it's supposed to stop anger. But when the monk tested his friend, the meditator got upset at the slightest provocation. He hadn't integrated the idea of patience with his mind. So this is a good reminder. Best way to see how we're going is into interaction with others, particularly others who criticize us. They're the ones who help us the most, said. So the second one, we do this practice on, it's technically called Tonglen, giving and taking. We're giving our positive energy to others and taking on their problems. Quite an advanced practice, compassion meditation. So the benefits of this practice are said to be, it helps counter our general tendency to be preoccupied with our own problems, our own sufferings, our own difficulties. We can get very caught up in things that are happening to me, my problem, what's going to happen next, what I have to deal with. So it widens our view of the world, and it helps us realize not only do we have this problem, but countless others have the same problem or even worse. So this is called equanimity. How much we do is wanting, how much we want happiness for ourselves and don't want suffering is shared by others. Just others also have this wish. So this helps us to remind that we're just one, and others who are countless have the same wishes for happiness and not to have hard times, not to have difficulties. I'm one and they're infinite, so which is more important? So in the actual practice, we bring to mind a problem either we're experiencing now or have recently experienced. We all have problems, probably not that difficult to think of one. Financial problems, work problems, many problems regarding our world at the moment with the virus, pandemic. Could be just feeling worried, depressed, anxious, how our routine has been upset. So we spend some moments just experiencing the pain, not so much the details of why or what, but just that general difficulty that we have, how it affects our life, how we do suffer, admitting that we have problems, that we do feel difficulties and we do feel suffering. The next thing is we remind ourselves that countless others are experiencing the same problem. or worse. So if we may have an illness, probably not the coronavirus, but we can actually think of those who have contracted the virus, become ill, and those who've died. Then we can widen the view and be aware that not only the virus is causing illness, but even more people are suffering other illnesses and dying from other illnesses every day, every moment. Not only illnesses, but there's political oppression, refugees, homeless people, people suffering persecution, abuse of rights, natural disasters, and so on. So we widen our awareness of the extent of suffering in the world, not just us, but how the whole of mankind is in the same situation. So then we come back to our own problem and put in this new thought. If only by me experiencing this problem, wouldn't it be wonderful if I could stop all the other people having to experience the same problem, experience on their behalf? We introduce that thought and just rest it in the mind, stay with that. Allowing that thought that by experiencing this problem, I'm relieving those others with the same problem or worse from the problem. Just allowing the mind to accept that. Noticing any resistance, how the mind may not like that thought. But remember, this is the beginning of compassion. This is so essential for us to familiarize ourselves with if we want to have our own happiness and we want to progress along our spiritual path. Then we use the breath to visualize those around us with problems, breathing in the problems they've got and taking it into our selfish part of our mind, our heart, and destroying our selfish part of our mind. If that's too much, we find that too confronting, we can use the breath to evaporate, to lift up the problem from other beings. And it goes beyond space where it can do no harm. We can lift the problem from others with each breath. It's the alternative visualization. Then after a few moments of the in-breath, we focus on the out-breath, and with the out-breath, we're visualizing breathing out all our positive qualities, all our joy, all our good experiences, and sending it into the hearts of other beings. And that's white light. Imagine the white light going to the hearts of other beings, giving them our love, our joy. So that's basically the practice, and then we rejoice in the fact that we can do this practice, and how wonderful it would be if we could actually do the practice and relieve people with their suffering. Okay, so let's start. We'll start with just going back to that breathing meditation for a few moments. Just get comfortable. Right, we just now start the session bringing our attention into our breath, our body and breath. Coming back to that calm, contemplative state we had in our breathing meditation. Getting in touch with our inner world, our true nature, our natural calm state of mind. Now we start our practice on compassion meditation, using our own problems to develop compassion to others by bringing to mind a problem that we have now or have recently had. It could be a relationship problem, work problem, financial problem, health problem. Maybe we've been feeling depressed, anxious, upset, angry. Recalling that uncomfortable feeling. We are suffering, we're human beings, we have problems, we're not enlightened yet. Acknowledging how it affects our life. The truth of suffering in our life. Not the details, but the feeling. The truth of our own suffering. This particular problem. How it affects our peace of mind. How it does affect us. Our tranquility. Our well-being. The truth of suffering in our life. It's real. Now, second step, thinking, acknowledging the truth that others at the same time, other people in the world, other beings, have this same problem. Exactly the same. I am one, but countless others, not just our friends, but perhaps enemies, even strangers, have this problem, or may have had this problem. Or perhaps even worse, acknowledging, admitting the truth. Others are experiencing the same problem or worse. Feeling that sense of humanity, common humanity, a commonality, sharing of our predicament. We all suffer. That bond, staying with that. Particularly thinking of the pandemic and how countless other beings are now experiencing this shocking illness. Perhaps have died or are dying of this illness. Acknowledging that even more beings are suffering other illnesses other than the coronavirus and dying every day of these illnesses. Feeling this sense of mortality, sharing, common humanity. Now, extending this vision of other beings suffering to not just illnesses, those suffering persecution, abuse of human rights, exploitation. Can bring to mind specific instances in the world, Hong Kong, Middle East, oppressive regimes, torturing, killing, abusing others. Extending it to those suffering from natural disasters, droughts, floods, earthquakes, people with not enough food, water. The pervasiveness of suffering of other beings. Acknowledging this truth. Feeling that common humanity, common vulnerability. We include those not suffering any physical illness but mental illness. Those suffering from anxiety, depression. Even if they're wealthy, they may have major mental illnesses. Accept the truth of their suffering. Now we come back to this problem we started off thinking about at the beginning of the meditation, our own problem. Thinking that I am one, countless other beings have this problem or worse. And since I have to experience this problem, me, one person, generating the thought of my experiencing this problem on behalf of others. If only by me experiencing this problem now, that would allow others not to experiencing this problem. May I experience this problem for them. Just generating that thought and staying with it. By me experiencing this problem, I'm relieving the problem of others. Seeing what happens to the mind when we introduce this thought. Is it happy? Is it resisting? Noticing that. Pushing past the resistance. Letting go any resistance. Feeling some joy that I can experience this problem on behalf of others. How wonderful if I could. Now we become aware of our breath, the in-breath and the out-breath. We use the breath to visualize. On the in-breath first, lifting the problems out of the minds and bodies of those beings who are suffering, all those countless beings around us. With each in-breath, we lift that problem out of the minds and bodies of the beings. in the form of black smoke. We take it into our hearts and destroy any selfish ego mind, the mind that resists compassion for others, self-cherishing mind. With each in-breath, just lifting the problem of others into our hearts, or alternatively beyond space, lifting and sending the problem beyond space, sending the suffering beyond space. Staying with the in-breath, staying with that thought of lifting, taking on the problems, the suffering of others. With each in-breath, relieving others' suffering. Then, focusing on our out-breath, and with each out-breath, breathing out all our positive qualities in the form of white light, all our love, compassion, realizations, wisdom, kindness, in the form of white light, straight from our hearts out into the hearts of all those suffering beings around us. Purifying and healing them of their problems. Staying with the out-breath, staying with the white light, breathing out all the joy and compassion in our hearts to other beings. Purifying them of all suffering and its causes. As we do this, think that we wish them well, wish them loving kindness and compassion. We could perhaps repeat the phrases, may you, all beings, be happy, be healthy, and live in peace. May you, all beings, be happy, healthy, and live in peace. Just as I wish for you. Then we think at the conclusion of the practice that by doing this practice, we've purified our own body and mind, and we're feeling a sense of bliss in our body and mind, pervading the entire body and mind, that feeling of bliss. Practicing loving kindness, compassion for others. Lama Zopa Rinpoche says, each time we do this practice, and we should do it often, it helps us and all sentient beings to come closer to enlightenment, brings us closer to enlightenment, brings others closer to enlightenment. We dedicate towards that. May they come closer to enlightenment. May we come closer to enlightenment, to bring others closer to enlightenment. So we'll just also dedicate, using Lama Zopa's special dedication for the pandemic. He says, however many sick sentient beings there are, may they quickly be freed from all sickness. May all sickness, without exception, of all transmigrating beings never occur again. And due to the merits of the 3 times collected by me, all numberless Buddhas, all numberless sentient beings, may all wars or sickness, or famine, torture, poverty, economic problems in the world, and all dangers of earth, water, fire, and wind be pacified immediately. May perfect peace and happiness prevail in everyone's hearts and lives. May the Buddha Dharma last for a long time, and may all sentient beings in the world meet the Buddha Dharma and achieve enlightenment as quickly as possible. Dedicating to that. Okay, thanks for being there. That's the session for today. Have a wonderful day, good week, and I hope to see you same time next week. Take care and stay well.